So I'm picking on the Calvinists here lately, and I think I have one channel, Calvinist channel, big time Calvinist channel. I think he banned me. This is fine. I'm an I'm not trying to offend them, but see, I think this is the latter days. I really think we're near the end, and near the end, there's going to be a lot of falling away. Apostasis, apo meaning away, stasis meaning standing. So you're seeing all this. You're seeing a lot of feel-good preaching in the church for sure. Oh, and by the way, let me recommend a channel. It's called Election Theology. It's a new channel, a new guy. You can hear when this guy preaches, man, he gets it, I mean, he hasn't given up his Christmas yet. But, maybe he will. That's a real hard thing to do, is to give up the Christmas. But it's pagan. It is pagan. Once you see it, and once you get rid of it, it's really cool. So I'll put a link to the description for that channel. But the apostasis, the falling away, it's just everywhere. And it's in these so-called churches. The feel-good preaching is, really falling away. But a reason I want to point out this one, I'll link this video too. If you listen to these guys, these are educated dudes and they sound like they're older dudes. And they're preaching about Hebrews 10, which I'm going to go over briefly in just a second. I've been over it before. See, the Bible is death to self, daily cross. When you understand that's what the Bible is about, then your eyes open and you perceive very vividly, especially when it pertains to your own life, because see, that's what it's about in the end. It's about your life and death to self, daily cross of your life. So I'm listening to these guys, educated guys, and they're saying, oh, geez, you think Hebrews 10 might not be about, losing salvation. It might be, God is punishing you because you're, falling away. Might be. I'm just banging my head going, you think, Mr. Calvinist? You think? It's one of the reasons why I'm not a Calvinist. They preach predestination, but I call it predestination light. They miss the death to self daily cross. It's like they just touch on it. But it's like they don't fully get it. And when you listen to these guys in this video talk, it's like, well, it might be. You think? Well, yeah, it is. Of course it is. The child of God need not look further than his own life. That God brings evil on you, brings punishment on you to pick the child up and get you up standing again. Standing up. So, yes, Hebrews 10 is about the child of God and picking them up, punishing them to straighten them, to get them back on the narrow way, standing up, moving forward, growing in faith again. You bet that's what it's about. But they just dance all around it and they don't quite see it. This is my criticism of the Calvinists. It's like Bud Light, half the calories. Christian light is what the Calvinism is, Christian light. So now let's look here. Look, again, the Greek is important. It's so important. You have to define the words. In my church, we define every word. We define the word word. We define the word define. And where we're defining words, we find other words, and we define those words. When you leave definition, you'll leave the truth. And it's important in Hebrews to look at some of these words and see where the chapter begins and where it ends, and define the words. So I'm not going to read the whole chapter, but when it starts out, for the law having the shadow of the good thing to come. So you see here in Greek it's skia, for skia holding, echo. The law, the coming, agathon. So look, this is how it starts out. The skia, the shade, the outline. So the law is the shade. So all what he's about to talk about, all what he's about to say after this is the shade of the agathos thing to come. Now, agathos, Agathos, they translate it good. It's just so wrong. It's just means nothing good. So it's a better translation will be beneficial. Agathos comes from the Greek word agon. Agon is a word, that's what they named the Colosseums, where they would kill Christians, or they would have competition, striving with pain. So the word itself, this is why it's important to define the words. The words will tell you in Greek. It's the benefit of the pain and the striving. And the law, like the law, what he's going to talk about, Moses and all that, was the outline of what's coming, that beneficial pain and striving. That was the outline of the real thing to come, which he's going to then go through in this chapter. Yes, it's about death to self, daily cross. So they get down here in that video, they get down here, and here's the verse everybody freaks out about. Down here, about how much sorer the punishment. You know, Moses, they died. God killed them. Well, how much sorer the punishment? And they're thinking, well, gee, you think God could, punish us to, get us back straightened up? Most people think that means you're going to lose your salvation and die and go to hell. But no, this is the skia of the agathos thing to come. Yes, God's going to beat you. Didn't just a few chapters ago, the same author that wrote this says about the children of God are chastised? It's the word like for a beating. It's the word that was the name of the thing they beat Jesus with. Okay? Yes, the beating of the child. If you're not a child of God, he's not beating you to straighten you up. Yes, of course that's what it's about. It started out by saying it's the agathos thing to come. It was the outline of the agathos thing to come. So then now you look down here. Now, the just shall live by faith. But if any man draw back, my soul take no pleasure in him. But we are not them who draw back unto perdition. Means like go to hell. But them who believe to the saving of the soul. So it's not lose salvation. Salvation isn't something you get one day. It's something that God does to the child over the course of his life. Sozo means to rescue, to take you from one place to another. And that taking you from one place to another is the narrow way. Death to self, daily cross. God's going to beat you. Mastigu. Mastigu. Back when it says the child, God beats the child, it's mastigu. That's the thing they beat Jesus with. We are them that believe to the saving of the soul. Because God's going to beat you. And you're not going to die and go to hell. You're not. It just says it right here at the end. This whole thing is death to self, narrow way, daily cross. The skia of the agathos thing to come. That's the narrow way, death to self. It's what the Bible's about. And the Calvinists just dance around the edge of it. Look no further. If you're a child of God, look no further than your own life. God has chastised me, taken me down a road that my flesh wanted to go on and said, you see there? You see how that ends? Pow, pow, pow. Oh, yes. Thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you for taking me there and beating me. Now I see. Now I see, Daddy, Abba Father. Cry to Daddy. Yes, I won't do that. I get it now. That's the Bible. It's what the Bible's about, man. Now, there's an interesting book, man. I forgot the name of it. You see the same thing in shepherds and sheep. Man, I wish I could remember the name of the book. Talks about shepherds, like ancient shepherds. How they would shepherd their sheep. And they would the baby sheep that like to, sheep are dumb, they like to wander off. And it talks about how the shepherd would, if a baby lamb had a tendency to wander off, that the shepherd would break his leg and mend it, and then carry that baby sheep around, and then put it down every now and then and watch it hobble so it couldn't wander off. Break his leg so he couldn't wander off. And then it talks about how as they grow to be adults, if one kept wandering off, well, that would be the one they would kill and use for the the hide and the stomach and all that stuff. So a child of God is like a sheep. Jesus likened them to sheep. You're a child that wanders off, God just might kill you, take you home, not send you to hell. We are not those that draw back into perdition, but them to believe of the saving of the soul. So if you're a child of God and you keep wandering off, he just might kill you, but he'll take you home. Because God loves his agape. He agapes his children. Agape is that you walk in the commandments. That's the agape love of the Father. That's how he loves his children. John 3:16. He loved them so, like this. And like a shepherd who tends to his flock, who will break the leg of his baby sheep to teach them. And if you're one of those that keeps wandering off, he just might bring you home. So I'm coming down on the Calvinist a lot because they just dance around predestination. Predestination to conform, zoomorphos in Greek. Zoomorphe means to like shape with, shape to Christ. That's the narrow way, death to self. It's what the Bible's about. And you Calvinists, it's like you get it, but you just don't talk about it enough. It's not the focus. When that's what the Bible's focus is, death to self, narrow way for the believer, the true believer. So in these later times, I'm picking on these guys because I want the baby sheep to see. Don't be a Calvinist. Be a Christian. Be a Christian. Follow Christ. If you're on the narrow way, follow Christ. He's going to make you follow him. And if you're a baby believer, you know that. And if you're young, hang on. Hang on, man. Hang on. Because if you're a baby believer, you're going to get beaten a lot. Until you get old and he beats the sin out of you. Not all of it, but he beats enough of it out of you till you conform to be like the image of Christ. You be like you conform to the icon. You'll quit a lot of your anger. You'll quit a lot of your lying. You'll quit whatever thing you're gravitating towards, whatever that flesh is doing in your life. He's going to beat a lot of that out of you until you get old and you give up and you obey. That's what the Bible's about. Death to self, narrow way, daily cross. Come on, Calvinist. Come on. Preach it. Preach it. Preach it heavy, not light.